afternoon and welcome once again to the program Transforming Lives One at a Time. On this program, we seek to educate, clarify, inform, and keep you in the know as it relates to any and every issue that affects the human experience. Well, today we will be talking about the disease called lupus. We are going to find out exactly what is lupus, how it affects the body, and of course, the treatment options. We also have a young lady who have been diagnosed with the disease, sharing her experience and how she has started a support group right here in Tobago for persons treating with lupus. Well, my guest today is Dr. Juniki Frank Edobor, and a bit later in the program, we will speak with Ms. Tanisha Cupid about the newly formed support group and what the group has in mind moving forward. Dr. Juniki Frank Edobor holds a Doctor of Medicine degree in internal medicine and is a distinguished fellow of the American College of Physicians with nearly 2 decades of experience. Currently, Dr. Frank Edobor serves as an internal medicine consultant at the Scarborough General Hospital. Her expertise is particularly notable in managing complex medical conditions, which includes today's topic, systemic lupus erythematosus. Doc, welcome to the program, and thank you so much for taking the time out to share vital information with our viewers today.
Thank you for having me, Dianne.
Yes, well, of course, it's important to note that World Lupus Day is commemorated annually worldwide on May 10th. So we just came out of that, but of course, activities will continue. Well, I think the first question that must be addressed is exactly what is lupus and how does it affect the body?
Okay, so when we say lupus, we speak generally about systemic lupus erythematosus. That's the most common type. But there's also discoid lupus, neonatal lupus, and drug-induced lupus. But we generally referring to the most common, which is SLE.
Okay.
And how it affects the body, well, that just ties into the definition of lupus. So lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease where your body responds abnormally, the immune response is abnormal, and it affects oneself. So basically, you have your immune system, which is supposed to fight infections, keep you healthy, now attacking your own healthy tissue.
Wow.
Yes. So how it affects a person who is living with lupus, because it can attack every single cell in the body, the presentations are a whole myriad of presentations that the patients come with. So usually the most common symptom is one that you don't see, but they complain a lot about fatigue. They're tired all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Imagine we might get up and go run a marathon and be tired, but they're sitting down and running that marathon internally. They are tired. Yes. And then you see the rashes on their face, head and neck. So the classic butterfly rash on the cheek and coming down the nasal bridge. They also have some annular rashes on their head and neck wherever the sun is.
Wow.
And then they have some scarring rashes like the discoid lupus, where it actually causes a lot of scarring, and if the rash is in their hair, they lose the hair there as well and it doesn't regrow. But lupus by itself also causes hair loss, but that hair loss is that hair can regrow. They have ulcers in their mouth, in their nose, they have joint pains, muscle pains, and it affects every organ. So the largest organs that we talk about mostly when it affects your brain, so those persons will have the headaches, they can have seizures, they can have psychosis, weakness, and some of them go on to develop kidney failure as well. So you'll have the puffy legs, puffy face, the urine, barely any urine passing, and they may have to go on to have dialysis and kidney transplant.
Wow, so this is a very serious disease.
And that is just a small amount of the symptoms that they get.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So when we talk about like a lupus flare-up, what is that and can it be prevented?
So lupus flare is increasing the activity of the lupus. So they may have minimal symptoms at baseline, but then the skin flares, the rash gets more pronounced. So they'll have severe joint pains, or they'll have fluid in the lungs or around the lungs, etc. Or even the kidneys could flare acutely, right? And with flares, we tend to either have to escalate medication or add more medication for them. And preventing flares, yes, preventing flares has to do with the whole management of lupus. That's one of the key components of the management of lupus, what we do to prevent it, which is a whole discussion, but that always starts off when we talk about the flares in particular. They have to avoid things that will cause the flare. So sunlight. Sunlight. Where do we live?
In the Caribbean.
Okay, and they cannot be exposed to sunlight.
Wow.
Right? So you'll see that they usually have like either big broad rim hats. They always have on long sleeves. So even if they have a short sleeve, they have these long compression garments below. Yeah, they always have to have sunscreen on at all times. So they have to have high SPF sunscreen, at least 55, to protect them. And remember, what we always forget with sunscreen is we have to reapply it every 2 hours.
Oh.
Right. And so they have to keep covered, and especially driving. Even I have patients who just drive in the rays coming through the windshield. So they have to have tint exemptions in order to reduce the amount of flares that they can have.
This is mind-boggling, because I mean, sometimes you hear about things, but I've never really done any in-depth research. So I am so happy that you are coming here now, that you could be able to highlight and clarify, so persons would be able to know exactly when we say that a person has lupus, exactly what they are dealing with.
Yes. They're dealing with a lot.
Wow. So is this a disease that is like passed on through the genes? And how does one develop lupus, or what are the risk factors for the disease?
So lupus, how it comes about is a constellation of different factors. So genetics, hormones, and the environment. So with genetics, it's passed on through families. So if you have an identical twin who has one, that other twin has a almost 30% risk of getting it. But even so, with just having someone in your family that has lupus, you are at increased risk for having lupus. Okay. And then hormones, it's more common in women, right? In fact, it's a 9-to-1 ratio female to male. And in some places, it's as much as 15-to-1.
Really?
Females more than males. So it's the estrogen that is playing a big role in this. And that's why it's usually seen in women of childbearing age. So by the time they reach 16 to all the way up to 45, etc., that's where you see a lot of patients with lupus coming out and being diagnosed. And then the environment is sunlight in a person who's already predisposed to it. Yes. And then there are certain infections like Epstein-Barr virus that will make them go on to develop lupus. And there are certain medications as well that play a role in it.
Wow. So what I'm hearing is that when someone is diagnosed with the lupus, it's a whole new ball game. A lot of changes, a lot of things, new adjustments.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's talk about how often do people get lupus and who tends to get it?
So lupus has a prevalence of about over 40 per 100,000 persons. When you're talking global prevalence, it's more common in persons of African descent, persons of Native American, well, for us it would be Amerindian in our sense, Hispanics, Asians, they're more common in those populations, less common in persons who are Caucasian.
Okay.
And of course females and females of that age group where they bear children.
How is it diagnosed?
Right. So it's a clinical diagnosis. So I know sometimes people go online and you look up how you diagnose lupus, yes, and you will see the criteria that is listed there. So we use that criteria as just a guide to say, okay, because they highlight some of the major symptoms, but they are not diagnostic criteria. What you see online when you check, those are criteria that we use to enroll people into studies.
Okay.
But it's basically the signs and symptoms that they have together with some laboratory investigations, because they tend to have low blood count, low white cell count, platelets, and they actually have autoantibodies. We actually can test for those to see if you have lupus, to bring the picture together to say, yes, this is a patient living with lupus.
Okay, so as it relates to Trinidad and Tobago, do you have any kind of statistics?
Well, The exact statistics, no, but because of our location, we tend to have a higher prevalence of lupus. I know that when you look at the world incidence, etc., I know Barbados puts out a lot of their data, and they actually are flagged as a high-risk area for lupus.
Really?
And remember, we have the same sort of population, so we see a lot
weather.
of those patients. Yes, it's the same.
And weather. Wow. So I want to talk about some of the complications that can arise as a result of lupus.
Right. So patients with lupus, what we see a lot here is lupus nephritis, so kidney damage from the lupus. So they, as I said, go on to need renal replacement therapy. We see patients who have chronic lung disease as a result of the lupus. The pressure in the lung gets high, they have a lot of scarring, so they have that to live with. Then there's the lupus cerebritis, so those persons can go on to develop seizures and weakness, just like in a stroke as well. And then some even, I'm talking about the internal, but they might be more concerned with the long-term consequence of the rashes and the deformities that come even after it heals. You know, it's women, and we're talking about rashes deforming your face and your hair and making your hair fall out, etc. So those are some of the issues that they would complain of and have to live with.
Right. And even as you're talking about that, especially for us as women, you know, I'm looking at the mental kind of effects and how their self-esteem can be really, really severely, you know.
And especially when you wear your disease on your face and people stare at you.
Yes, yes. And then you have to sometimes explain, or sometimes you don't even want to go through the trauma of explaining what is happening. But you know, you're just getting the eyes and you're just getting the stares. And of course, you know, sometimes as human beings generally, we can be so insensitive. We can be very, very insensitive. I know you spoke about mostly in women and the childbearing ages. Have we ever seen any in children?
Well, it's more prevalent in women and childbearing ages, but it can happen outside of those age groups as well. Just again, as soon as your estrogen levels start climbing, you hit puberty, you start to have an increased risk of having lupus. And then there's neonatal lupus, so the babies born to mothers who have lupus, they go on to develop neonatal lupus as well. But that usually clears as they start making their own antibodies.
Right. Well, doctor, I want to find out, someone may be viewing at this time and wondering, can someone who has been diagnosed with lupus live a generally normal life once it is managed and treated?
Right. So healthy, long, prosperous life, yes. Normal, it will be a new normal. You and I could probably go put on a bathing suit this evening after work and go and lie on the beach. They can't do that, right? The sun, right? So they have to adjust to a new normal for them in order to live a healthy life.
Wow. Okay. A new normal. You know, it reminded me of when COVID, a new normal, and it felt so strange. And I'm just thinking about the whole, the level of changes within an individual, even dealing with their workplaces. If there are persons that usually will work on the outside, it means now they have to change jobs.
Exactly.
Now they have to explain to the boss, well, this is the situation.
And if they have flares, sick leave, admitted to hospital, loss of earning.
Yes.
And even with every time they get a flare, they lose the conditioning, so they lose muscle mass, they lose bone mass. So, you know, it's a whole, you can't catch up sometimes.
Yes. Well, I definitely understand that. Well, we have gone into depths about the ins and outs of lupus. Let's delve into now as to what should be avoided when you're treating with this disease.
Well, a big part of our management is preventive medicine when it comes to persons with lupus. So I would first start off with what should be done.
Okay, right.
So diet and exercise we take for granted a lot. Later in the disease course of lupus, most persons with lupus die of cardiovascular disease, so heart attack and stroke, because it's an independent risk factor for heart disease.
Right.
So they have to live a healthy life, they have to exercise, they have to do a lot of resistance training to help build back those muscles and bone that they lose when they get ill. And then there's the diet. There's no lupus diet, but you have to maintain a healthy diet.
Right.
But you can add foods that are high in antioxidants, so your fruits and your vegetables, your foods that are high in omega-3 fatty acids, so your fatty fishes and your nuts like your walnuts, your chia seeds, your flax seeds. All those diet improvement helps. They cannot smoke. Right? So smoking, general inflammation, it actually makes the disease process worse, and it actually increases your risk of developing lupus. And then stress. We talk about, we all have stress,
everyday.
But stress in them causes a flare. So they have to actually do stress relieving techniques. So they had to meditate and do mindfulness and art therapy, music therapy, whatever brings you joy. And they have to sleep. How many of us get that 8 hours a night?
Right.
They have to sleep. And then they have to avoid all the sun, everything, all the things that we spoke about avoiding sunlight, etc. And with that, they would tend to not flare and with the medications, with everything, have a low disease state.
Wow. Well, Doc, I also want to talk about support systems that would be in place, and someone in terms of probably seeing some signs in terms of when they go to the sun, it's affecting them greatly. Let's talk about what is their next move and some of the support systems and places that they can reach out to get some help.
So I am happy that the next speaker is going to talk about her new support group.
Yes.
That is something that should have been done a long time ago, because they're able to talk about, the issues that are affecting them that we as the clinicians don't probably prioritize for them, and it helps them to navigate the system better, knowing what type of doctor you need to see for what complications, etc. And family support.
Yes.
Community, whether it's church, etc. support. When I told you the most common symptom is fatigue, but people will be like, oh, you're just lazy. They can't. They just really can't. They need help. When they have the joint pains and the muscle pains, they can't move around. They need people to support them to get them to where they need to go. So you cannot put the amount of emphasis that needs to be put on the support for these persons. They have a lot of mental fog, so they tend to forget a lot as well.
Really?
So having that somebody come with them to wherever they need to go, to remind them, take notes, all of that, it's very important.
So that support system. It's like a community coming together.
Yes.
So you have your extended family, you have your family, and then to get the kind of information and knowledge about it. So when they realize that their family member is going through this because of the education, they would be in a better place to provide that added level of support.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I am so happy that you would have come and brought some light, even as the next segment would be actually two ladies who have been diagnosed with lupus, and they're going to share their experience. But I found it fitting that we would have a doctor to come and speak about it before, so we could have a proper foundation. Right. So I want to take the opportunity to thank you so much for coming today and letting us know about lupus, because I too, I'm surprised at some of the things that you said. Yes. So I really want to thank you today, Dr. Juniki Frank Edabor, for giving us a wealth of information as it relates to lupus. You have brought so much clarity and understanding of the disease, and we are certainly grateful for that. So I want to thank you again for your continued service in the medical field, and of course to encourage you to keep up the good work. All right?
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So viewers, at this time we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
If you're wondering where to find top-tier quality tiles and products to refurbish or renovate your wall, floor or pool, well, your worry is over. Come to D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center, Store Bay Local Road, opposite the Bonnecourt Primary School, Tobago, where you will find porcelain, mosaic and ceramic tiles of the highest quality guaranteed. D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center also stocks thinset, grout, tile cutters and yes, windows. Plus a friendly smile and service that's second to none awaits you. So forget the hassle and get all the quality tiles you need right here in Tobago at D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center. Call us today at 460-8802, 639-8281. Opens Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m.
Hi, I am Dianne, host of Transforming Lives One at a Time, and I would like to introduce you to our brand new segment, Good Vibes, Good News. And this is where you have the opportunity to highlight your good vibes, good news with us. You could send your 90-second video to our WhatsApp number 1-868-701-2099. That's 1-868-701-2099. Let's hear some of the good news that we never hear about. Good vibes, good news, inspiring hope, celebrating wins, truly grateful.
NSL School and Office Supplies for all your school uniforms, textbooks, stationery and craft supplies. Located obliquely opposite Stumpy's Bypass Canaan. Also offering printing, photocopying and much more. Give them a call today, 615-6595-477-5905 or email them at nslbookstore@gmail.com.
Welcome back, viewers. Today we are talking about the disease called lupus. Well, in studio with me now is Miss Tanisha Cupid and Miss Akela Springer, and they have both been diagnosed with lupus. Miss Cupid along with Miss Springer have teamed up to form a support group for lupus patients right here in Tobago. It is their hope to raise awareness of the disease and provide assistance where necessary. Miss Cupid and Miss Springer, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dianne.
Yes, so happy to have you here today, looking so beautiful in your lovely white shirts with shades of lupus.
Thank you.
First of all, share a bit about your experience, how it has affected your life, and some of the adjustments that you would have had to make.
Okay, so I will begin. Yes, then I got diagnosed in 2022, and at first, I was a bit taken aback because in my mind, I was saying, I don't have no lupus in my family.
Right.
You know, so it came almost left field for me. And at the time, I'm a professional, I'm very busy at work. Apart from that, I am a farmer. I'm a professional farmer. And for those of you who know about lupus, you know that the sun is not your friend. Yeah, and so apart from my work as a lab technician, I'm a full-time farmer and I love the garden. So here I am. I was busy going about my life. I do farming, I do the real estate, and I am busy. Then I got some bumps on my face. I started joking around. I'm usually one who would throw a little bit of humor in everything.
Yes.
So then I'm joking around. I said, good Lord, why do I with a rash? I got no rash during puberty. Why do I have a rash? And I waltzed into the Scarborough Health Center with confidence. I said, I need a cream for this rash. That was my approach.
Yes.
And I met a nurse, and up to this day, I believe that that nurse was God sent. Yeah, and she said to me, you have lupus? I said, no, just a rash.
Right.
With confidence,
of
just
course.
a rash. Yeah, I need a cream for it. She said, okay. And there I went, I got my vitals, very nice, very polite. I went in to see the doctor. When I went in to see the doctor, the nurse came in behind the doctor. I said, all right, what's going on with nursing today?
Yes.
And she said, she's complaining that she has a rash, but I think that you should screen for lupus. What about doing a couple tests, whatever? And so the doctor, they're like, lupus thing. All right, okay. I think that the doctor kind of wanted to just appease the nurse. Yes. And I also was like, yeah, boy, because nurse on 100 today.
Yes.
You know, and the doctor, he said, are you tired? And I said, my generation is always tired.
Right, because you're so busy.
Yeah, I'm busy, I'm working, I am always tired. Yeah, I'm trying to get businesses off the ground. I work full time, I'm tired. Have you lost any weight? I say, yeah, boy. I lost like 10 pounds in 2 months. I don't exercise. I said, but I just glad for the little weight loss. But at the time, I had absolutely no appetite, Dianne. I would be going, and in the evening, my mom would say, you eat? I'm like, no, I didn't eat. You know, I carried my food. I had no appetite. To cut a long story short, they did the test. The blood work looked horrible. And from there, the rash did not go.
Right.
Yeah, I got to find out after that it was the butterfly rash. So it was right there on the face. Yeah, and that was in October. November, I did a biopsy on the skin. I started getting more rash all over the skin. November, I did a biopsy, and they confirmed that in fact it was SLE, systemic lupus. Yeah, and I had to make huge adjustments.
Wow.
Yeah, because here I am farming, so that just cut my farming hours.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't be in the sun, and now I have to tweak a lot of things that I'm doing. I am forever on the go. I had to scale back because what happens in lupus, you're extremely tired.
Yes.
Yeah, and I got in the height of a flare. Yeah, I got in the height of a flare, and so I had to pull back. So that was some of the changes. You see, I had to incorporate sunscreen.
Yes.
In my makeup routine. So
yes.
I always wear sunscreen. Now I started looking at foods that are high in inflammation because diet is everything.
Yes, well, the doctor was saying that just before you came on. The diet
is everything.
Yes.
Diet is everything. Yeah, so that saw me making a lot of lifestyle changes. Luckily, I always ate well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I farm.
Right, exactly. So you have all the vegetables.
Yeah. So it worked out for me in that sense.
Yes.
And yeah, I had to make a full 360. I started even researching how do I maximize production in the garden, so that I can keep the business going and stuff. Like
wow.
that.
So it was an entire. It was like a 180-degree turn.
For me.
Wow.
For me. Yeah.
Yes. Well, Ms. Springer, just share your experience a little bit about yours.
My experience is somewhat similar to Tanisha's. For me, I got diagnosed in 2020, so just 2 years shy of her.
Okay.
I was actually pregnant at the time, and my blood count was extremely low. Extremely low, and they wanted to know why my blood count was so low. I was taking all the iron tablets, the iron supplements, because of course in pregnancy you have to take your iron, you have to take your folic. So there's like, why your blood count still is so low? Then it sent me to, I think it was Dr. Charles. He's for bloods.
Yes.
So I went to him and we did some blood tests. I had to do a bone marrow test. So they had to like literally drill into my bone to take some marrow to see if that is the reason why I'm not producing enough blood cells. And that came back normal. So he had then referred me to rheumatology.
Okay.
So then when I went to rheumatology, we did all the other blood tests, and they then diagnosed me with the lupus in 2020. Sometimes some people's ENA or ANA will be positive, and then that will be an indicator, but both of mine were positive. So then it was like, ooh, girl.
Wow.
So yeah, and they keep, of course they will ask the usual questions if you're tired, but I've never known myself to be not tired.
Okay.
So
always on the move.
I'm always on the move, all right? But at the end of the day, it's like, is this, to me it was normal.
Right.
It was normal. I'm sleeping. But it's not, I wasn't thinking of it as I have some kind of
Okay.
disease or, you know, or any conditions. It was just, I'm tired, I don't have an appetite, and I was always a tiny girl. I've never, and then I start putting on weight, then it will fluctuate, my weight goes up and down all the time.
Right.
Like currently, I don't have an appetite. I will be, and I'll be like, and my mommy will be like, same thing with Tanisha, girl,
Yes.
eat. And I'll be like, I'm hungry. But for me, the symptom that affects me the most is the fatigue. Fatigue is, like, I could drink a cup of water and I'll fall asleep. I will be in work, everybody will say, well, you don't eat food, you will fall asleep. But I could eat the smallest thing. It could be a snack, and I will fall asleep. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. And I'm a professional. By profession, I'm a radiographer, so I take x-rays. I'm on my feet all the time.
Right.
And what happens is I get plantar fasciitis, where the soles of my feet hurt. So to stand all day,
Yes. That's in itself.
it is it's trouble, it's problems, and then we work long hours, so then the fatigue on top of that. So for me to catch up on hours sometimes, and then try to do different life stuff. I'm a mom, to be a mom,
Yes.
it's really, really hard to just do life every single day.
Wow.
It's really tough, and sometimes you're trying to explain to people, well, mommy will be like, you just lazy, and I'm like, I'm tired.
Right. Understood.
So a lot of people
Understood.
just don't understand
Yes.
exactly what you're going through.
Yes.
So it's really nice that you find somebody. When I met Tanisha, I was actually at work, and she came in for an X-ray, and I don't know what any request exactly that indicated to me that she had lupus. For some
Right.
reason, I don't know
Yes.
what it was on the request, but I saw it and I was like, hey, sorry, excuse.
Yes.
Yeah, lupus by chance?
Right.
And she was like, I think so. And then we just started talking from there.
Right.
We talk. We literally hold up. I held up, sorry work. But I held up the floor for a while just because it was so nice meeting someone.
Yes,
Yeah.
so
could
that you could be able to,
understand.
yes,
That it
I
just
understand.
understands
And it
what you're
even
going
brings
through.
me to the kind of support systems, because as I was talking with our doctor before you came on, that support system is so very critical. And then of course, for persons who may not understand what is happening in terms of, you may not be out in the sun, or you may have a big broad hat, or you may be wearing something with long sleeves, and you're getting the stares.
Exactly.
You
and
know?
then you're either always cold.
Yes.
And then it's so crazy because it's such a wide symptom range, because some of the symptoms she's experiencing I have never experienced. I have
Right.
never experienced a rash.
Yes.
Sun really don't, well, I don't even know if it affects me, but I don't believe it affects me.
Okay.
So like I can't say, because it's just such a wide range of symptoms that you can
Right.
experience, and not every patient experiences the same symptoms.
Of course.
So it's just so difficult, and that's why it's so difficult to diagnose as well.
Yes.
Because of the wide range of symptoms.
Yes,
that you
of
can get
course,
in.
of
Yeah.
course. Well, let's talk about a little bit about this new support group that's about to be launched, Shades of Lupus. Let's talk a bit about the concept and the objectives of the group.
I think Akela would have said it perfectly. It is so different. Yeah, it is so different. Lupus is personalized.
Yes.
Yeah, it is personalized. So there are different shades. Yeah, and that's one of the things that would have caused us to lean towards that name, Shades of Lupus. Because as much as you have, so the color for lupus is purple, by the way. Yeah, and you know in purple you have the lilacs, and sometimes you might even have the mauve, and you know,
Right.
old people used to say mauve.
Move, yes, move.
Right, mauve. Yeah, and so similar to how you have the different shades within the color, the disease, it is personalized in such a way that there are different shades
Okay.
to it. Yeah, and so like Akila said when we met, I got up and I could not walk. I was in such pain. My left ankle, like good Lord, I was in pain, Diane. And I tell people, lupus pain, I don't know, like it's a different
pain.
It's a different
Wow.
kind of pain. Because I forgot to tell you about when I head to Trinidad to do my biopsy, because I did a skin. So Akila went to rheumatology. I went to dermatology.
Okay.
So this is where we see the shades
Yes,
of the
yes,
personalized way in which this disease would affect individuals. Right, so I had the worst chest pain on top of the rash. And I tell you, chest pain was terrible. I'm talking about you turning your steering wheel to go around a corner. And it is an excruciating pain, like down the sternum. It was intense.
Right.
Yeah, and so we would have realized that this thing is personalized, and so it comes in different ways, and so we have shades of lupus, and we met right after I went into that place, and I was limping. Akila said, "Lupus." Yeah, but they're looking for different things, because with lupus you have the complication of clots and all these kind of things. Yeah, so they're looking because we don't want this young lady to have a clot and then
of course
so
problems.
They're doing their due diligence, and that's one of the things I had to I've had really good experiences. Yeah, with the limited resources, but I've had good experiences, and that's something I'm always thankful for. Yeah, they covered their bases when I get to the clinic. Yeah, and so there I am, and I met Akila months after. I said, we need to do something, you know?
Right.
I need to do something.
Yes.
To be honest, I say, I know Akila from Adam.
Right.
I know Akila from Norway.
Yes.
However, I know her co-worker.
Okay.
So there I said, right, I'm going to message Natty. Shout Natty, say, Natty, the girl who had lupus.
Right.
I don't know her name. I said, the girl who had lupus.
Yes.
I say, girl, I feel like we need to do something. Maize Lupus Awareness Month.
Right.
I want us to do something. I don't know how much of us in Tobago
have it,
but I want to do something.
Of course.
She said, I said, you feel sure? Give me the number. She said, yeah, man. I go in and talk to her. That number came quick.
One time.
That number came quick. And we delayed, and then we said, good Lord, we have 3 weeks. But we have a month.
We need to do something.
We need to get it going.
Something.
Yeah, and it was based on that. We said, all right, let's go. Let's call it a support group. We also would have reached out to, because there is a foundation.
All right.
Yeah, Voice of Lupus Foundation.
Okay, based in Tobago?
No, in Trinidad.
Okay.
Yeah, but she has done extensive work throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
Gotcha.
That is Miss Rihanna Harilal.
Okay.
So reached out to her, and she said, listen, Tobago has always been on my mind. But you know, sometimes it's a bit hard doing the work in Trinidad, which is so much, and then having to try to do the work in Tobago as well.
Of course.
So we're in Tobago. We can be the hands.
Of course.
We can be the feet in
Of
Tobago.
course.
And so with that was where the idea was birthed. Shades of Lupus Tobago.
Okay, wonderful. Well, there is nothing like experience, huh?
Correct.
Experience, because had you not experienced this, you would not have been on this program today. Transforming lives one at a time.
But then you check how, based on my experience of everything, just keep lining up.
Yes.
This nurse.
Yes.
I went back to that nurse and told her thank you.
Thank you, of course.
I went back to that nurse.
Yes.
I said thank you.
Of course.
Nurse, if you're watching, I have to come and check you.
Yeah.
I have to come and check you sometime, and then the pain.
Yes.
That carried me. Good thing it was not a clot.
Right.
Yes, it was
right.
a little inflammation.
Okay.
Yes, and I got over it about a week, 2 weeks. I was good again. You know, but that chance encounter.
Yes.
So I keep getting chance encounters, but I don't look at it as
Of
chance.
course, of course.
Ordained.
Yes.
This is how it's supposed to be.
Always a plan.
There we go.
Always a plan. Well, I know that the group will be officially launched on the 18th.
Correct.
18th, right? 18th of May, and of course, this is the awareness month for lupus.
It is.
It's commemorated annually on the 10th of May.
Correct.
Right.
And you did your homework.
I did. So tell us what you're going to be having on the 18th, and of course the way forward for the group. Is it that you're going to just come out once a year, or after you're going to have other activities, other probably workshops, so that other persons can join with the group?
Right, so you got everything correct. Yeah. So the 18th would be when we would officially launch
Okay.
Shades of Lupus Support Group. Tobago. Yeah, and you would, what to expect when you come to the event. Firstly, let me tell you that the event is a lupus awareness. Yes, and you would have persons who would be there to educate the community about lupus.
Right.
You would have myself, Akela, a few other lupus warriors, that's what we
Of
call
course,
ourselves.
yes.
Yes. You'll have other lupus warriors will be there sharing our experiences, because people don't know what you're going through unless you speak out.
Of course.
And that was one of the things that I would have battled with. I don't know if Akela would have battled with it. Speaking out. Because in Tobago, you don't want people to know your business.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes,
People know your business.
of course.
But it's not so much as not wanting people to know your business, Dianne, but I don't want you feeling sorry for me.
Okay.
You understand?
Don't pity me.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and she's sick, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Because I mean, you ladies are on here today, and if our viewers really look at the topic and hear the information that I shared, that you were diagnosed with lupus, and these ladies are so happy and joyous, I'm like, are these ladies
Even
are they trying to hoodwink me? And my producer is here, and I'm certain he's asking the same questions. Are these ladies trying to hoodwink us, viewers? But I think this is really a good way to approach it.
Definitely.
Because this is the situation.
Yeah.
Correct.
It is what it is. Let me make the best out of it. And on the journey, let me see who I can assist
out.
as well. Yes, yes, definitely.
Sorry for cutting.
All right, but we're going to take a short break, and then right after the break, we're going to talk about that. All right, viewers, stay with us.
If you're wondering where to find top-tier quality tiles and products to refurbish or renovate your wall, floor or pool, well, your worry is over. Come to D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center, Tobago Local Road, opposite the Bonnecourt Primary School, Tobago, where you will find porcelain, mosaic and ceramic tiles of the highest quality guaranteed. D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center also stocks thinset, grout, tile cutters, and yes, windows. Plus, a friendly smile and service that's second to none awaits you. So forget the hassle and get all the quality tiles you need right here in Tobago at D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center. Call us today at 460-8802, 639-8281. Opens Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m.
Hi, I am Dianne, host of Transforming Lives One at a Time, and I would like to introduce you to our brand new segment, Good Vibes, Good News. And this is where you have the opportunity to highlight your good vibes, good news with us. You could send your 90-second video to our WhatsApp number, 1-868-701-2099. That's 1-868-701-2099. Let's hear some of the good news that we never hear about. Good vibes, good news, inspiring hope, celebrating wins, truly grateful.
NSL School and Office Supplies for all your school uniforms, textbooks, stationery, and craft supplies. Located obliquely opposite Stumpy's Bypass, Canaan. Also offering printing, photocopying, and much more. Give them a call today, 615-6595-477-5905, or email them at nslbookstore@gmail.com.
Welcome back, viewers. Today we are speaking about lupus. And just before the break, we were talking about the objectives of this newly formed support group, Shades of Lupus. So, Miss Springer,
Yes.
you could probably fill us in on that.
No problem. So the objective of our group is to mainly provide support for lupus patients on the island. Not just the patients though, not just lupus warriors, but also for their families, for their caregivers, or any ally, anybody who just wants to show a hand to just give that mental, physical support, emotional support to our warriors. Not mainly sometimes when you just in a group setting, just to talk, a confidential space, a safe space, just to kind of relieve any stress you have, any type of awareness you want to bring about,
Yes.
or you just want to share any information you want to share, you have that safe space to do it. That's just one of the main objectives of our group. We also are hoping to provide financial support to any lupus warriors that may need it. Eventually, we want to get into teaching, having classes or workshops to let each warrior learn a skill set, maybe decorating or cake making, something along the lines where they could help themselves in the future. I don't know when we will get there, but that's just one of our main one of our objectives. Hopefully, we're a little ambitious over here.
Right. Well, of course, I could see that. And support is support.
And support is support.
And you have to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about. It's going to be on Saturday, the 18th.
Sunday, the 18th.
Sunday, yes.
At Healing Garden in Mount Pleasant.
All right. So for persons treating with lupus and for other family members affected as well, just share your contact information so that they could be able to reach out to you for that extra layer of support going forward.
So we have a telephone contact. It's 773-4SOL, so 4 Shades of Lupus. That's 4765-773-4765. We are also on Facebook and Instagram of Shades of Lupus Tobago. And our email address is the same thing, shadesoflupustobago@gmail.com. Yeah, so that's basically how you get into contact with us. We also having at the event, it's called Butterfly Bliss, by the way. I'm not too sure if we had mentioned the name of the event. It's called Butterfly Bliss. Again, that's on Sunday the 18th. We're also having registration at the event for anyone who wants to be a part of this support group. So again, for the lupus patients, for the families, for the caregivers, for the allies, we're having registration at the event. And then after the event, post-event, we're going to have online registration. So if you don't make it to the event, we're going to have that registration online, so you can have access to our group anytime you want. But just don't call me too late in the night.
Right.
We'll be sleeping, we're
tired. Resting.
Yeah, so basically that's how you get into contact with us, and that's how you can be a part of the group.
Okay. Well, tell us about some of the areas that you think need some improvement.
Right, so currently on the island we have no clinic specific to lupus. Yeah, well, lupus falls under rheumatology, but I can speak for myself. I go to Trinidad almost every other month.
Okay.
For clinic. Skin clinic, we have no skin clinic currently on the island. So that would be something really good.
Right.
Yeah, if the powers that be could look into that.
And of course they are listening. they are viewing today.
Right. So if they can look into that, yeah, because it would really help lupus patients if we can get a clinic on the island. Another thing, recently, well, every now and again, we have problems getting our medication.
Okay.
Yeah, specifically, I could speak for the hydroxychloroquine. Yeah,
that is the main medication for lupus patients.
Okay.
Which is, well, I guess I'm assuming it's the main medication because that's what both of us is on. Both of us are on, and I think that's what they start you on because it's the main immunosuppressant drug. So. For having limited supply of that, and I know for sure it's not just lupus patients that require that drug. So to have a shortage of it, it's just it needs to be improved, if possible.
Yeah. So that's about it. A clinic, we love a clinic. Yeah, we love that.
Yes.
And also, what we want is for persons to raise their voices about lupus. Wear your purple. Yeah, put on your purple. Wear your butterfly. Support the page. Yeah, things like that. Support if you can donate to a lupus warrior, because sometimes with the fatigue, sometimes a lot of kidney complications.
Yes,
involved.
The doctor spoke about that earlier.
And so that sometimes limits your ability to work.
Correct.
Yeah, and one of the things that really hit home for persons is when you can't provide for yourself and for your family.
Right.
Yeah, and so if you can give towards that, whether it's to make food baskets and stuff like that, that would be really good. And most important, Dianne, show empathy.
Yes.
Yeah, show empathy. But don't come and just hover over, oh, you're sick, you're sick. no. Right? What I mean, just be cognizant.
Yes.
Yeah, that lupus exists. There are persons within the Tobago space that suffers from lupus. Sometimes if you see me covered down in tongue, sometimes persons say, well, why you covered down so? I don't need a flare. Yeah, I don't need a flare. Yes, so just be mindful, be kind, because you don't know. We look really well, but sometimes you don't know the inner struggle that we may be facing.
And as you spoke, I distinctly remembered that about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I saw a young lady. I had cause to interact with her, and she was really covered up. And I kind of questioned it, because there was a broad hat, there was a shades, there was another scarf, long sleeve, long.
That's sounding like me, that.
And in Tobago.
Yes, so in my mind, but then after I think back, all my life I have known this lady, and she's always dressed like that. So now that we have the information on lupus, I'm thinking, I said, maybe. It's a possibility. But sometimes we look and we stare and we like, we are in the tropics, what you doing with all of this clothing? Not knowing. But I'm so glad that you came on this program today, so we can be able to highlight, because there was so much information shared. Because as I was telling our goodly doctor before, that I would have heard about lupus, but I never really investigated, and of course never really came into contact with persons who were diagnosed.
Welcome.
So, yes. and so many happy persons. I'm not saying you're happy you were diagnosed with it, but you're generally happy people, and I really applaud that. As I said earlier, it is what it is, but you have got to come to the realization, okay, this is what it is, I am going to put my best forward. And I want to congratulate you ladies on coming up with the initiative of not just saying, well, okay, I have this and let me stay in my corner, but deciding to make a move, deciding that you want to be a part of transforming someone else's lives. As you share the information, as you share and you bring out this support group. So I really want to encourage you to continue doing that. I want to wish you all the best in your launch next Sunday. And of course, whenever you all have any programs, also feel free to send it to me, and I can see if I could promote it on the Facebook page.
We appreciate that so much.
Yes,
thank you.
that will be definitely. I want to talk a little bit before you go about how important support systems are in terms of your family, in terms of relatives, in terms of, because even we're looking at a whole new change in terms of your workplaces, because now for persons that would have gone out, as in your case, the farming, you had to cut back. So tell us about that kind of support system and how critical is it? Both of you can share.
I have the best support. Akela, you can fight me on this when we come up here. But I have the best support system. It's so complex. I can't even call it a group. It's a system.
Right.
Yeah. And from my colleagues, my co-workers, my husband, my sisters, my brother, my nieces, my friends, my church members, when they travel, I use a particular sunscreen.
Yes.
My church members you have sunscreen? They bring sunscreen for me.
Right.
My girlfriends, when they order in their little cute whatever clothes from whatever, I put 2 sunscreen in the card for you, Tanisha. Let me tell you something.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, my co-workers, they would come. I remember I was in the height of a flare, and here I am, I'm going to work and stuff, because I am a lab technician, apart from the farming. Tell you, I'm busy.
Yes.
I'm busy.
And real estate.
Yes,
And real estate.
I'm busy. You know, and like clockwork, I would get a knock on my glass while I'm working in the laminar flow hood, and it's one of my co-workers.
Time to eat.
Time to eat, time for your medication.
Wow.
Time to eat, time for your medication. And I am telling you, maybe that is why we're such bundles of joy.
I'm telling you, bubbly.
But yeah, and even now, when I launch out into this support group, and now Akela and myself, we're bombarding social media platforms with material, and persons will message. I don't want to message you, but I don't know if to message. I don't, you have lupus? And I'm like, yeah. But that's how I am. I'm a very open person as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm always like that. My sister's so called kill it, be share. I'm very open.
Right.
That is how I am. Yeah, I don't know what days I'm going to get. So bet your bottom dollar when I'm having a good day, you're not going to throw me off of my day. But support, Dianne, is everything. Is everything. And when I got diagnosed, I must put in a plug here for the counseling unit at the Division of Health.
Okay.
I was having a hard time because now I'm thinking, how do I adjust this thing?
Yes.
And our girl is a hot girl, so I have to change up my wardrobe. I have to change up my wardrobe. And sometimes you have hearing loss. I like, what is this? What is this?
Yeah.
You know, and I got a gem of a counselor, of a therapist, who helped me to navigate some of the feelings that I was having.
Yes.
And so I want to tell other lupus patients that your support goes beyond your family. When you need a professional, you need a professional.
Of course, of
Sister
course.
friend, brother friend. When you need a professional, you need a professional.
Yes.
And we have that support in Tobago. That's one thing. You must give credit where credit is due.
Yes, yes,
and you
yes.
have that. So support is everything.
Of course, definitely. Tell us about your support system.
So my support system mainly makes up of my family and my friends, because before I met Tanisha, I was not very vocal about my diagnosis. No one in work knew. No one, not my closest group friends and my family knew. I didn't even think, like some of my uncles and them didn't even know. When I launched the page, the Facebook page, my uncle was like, but wait. Because even though I'm talkative, I like to talk, but certain things you just kind of just want to keep close to your chest.
Of course.
Yeah, again, not with the pity, not with the or the little side eyes.
Yes.
I was just kind of like, you know what? This is my fight. It's not nobody else's fight. I don't like to be a burden or feel like a burden to anyone. So it's different it's just different. I don't like to burden anybody. So my support system was just myself, my close friends, and my family. But when I tell you my friends are a support system, they pull me up.
Wow.
When I don't take my medication, if I don't drink water, and water is very critical. If I don't drink, they'll be like, you drink water today? Like, put an app on your phone. They pull me up. But then after a while, I'm like, I told you.
Okay.
Ease me up a little bit now. Like, I know, but gosh, ease me up a bit.
Yes.
And then when I told them I was starting this group, they was like, they're so happy because I'm not really vocal about it and they don't know the everyday struggles. Yes, they know, but they can't provide like the support I would need. Like they don't know the support, the personal support I would need. So knowing that I'm forming this group and I'm meeting other people with lupus and I could speak to them about these struggles, because of course they won't understand, they are not going through it.
Right.
So now that we have this group, they're so happy that I could have people that understands. Because again, I don't like to talk about it because it's like, why telling on the phone? I don't understand anyway.
Understood.
So why telling on the phone? So now that we have this group, this new support system, it will be amazing because now you're speaking to people who understand. And having somebody that understands is the biggest and best feeling ever because it's such a complicated disease. It's such a complicated condition that you just don't know. Even I wouldn't even know if Tanisha understands some of the things I'm going through.
Right, because it affects each person
it's so
different.
Yeah. But it's just nice to know that I'm not alone in the fight.
Right.
I'm not alone in the fight. So that support is great.
Well, it's so great to know because I always say that no man is an island. And whatever it is we are facing, always never be afraid to ask for help. And once you reach to that point that you recognize, I cannot make it alone, we have the professionals. And I want to say hats off to the team at the Division of Social Services, Health and Social Services, and the other part, the other name.
Family protection.
Yes. And they have been really doing a fantastic job. They have come on this program from time to time, and we get a lot of feedback. A lot of families reach out to them, and of course, being on this program and sharing the necessary information, persons are now aware of the kind of support
That
and the
they
kind
can
of
get.
help that they can access through the division. So I want to say hats off to the folks there at the Division of Health and Social Services and Social Protection, I believe. Family Protection.
There we go, Diane.
There we go. Well, as we begin to wrap up the program, what is one key takeaway you would like to leave with our viewers, and possibly someone who has just been diagnosed with lupus? I want you to speak to that person and just encourage them. You have come this far, and now you're starting this support group to be able to assist others, which is so very, very commendable. Just give the key takeaway and speak to that person.
Lupus is not a death sentence.
Okay.
Your life does not have to end after a diagnosis of lupus. Yes, what I would tell them, Diane, is, sis, fix up yourself, pull up your socks, bro, straighten up yourself, bring back your shoulders, face this thing head on. Get support where you need support. When you need a professional, seek a professional. Your dreams, your goals
Are still attainable.
They don't have to die.
Yes.
Yes, they don't have to die, right? Stay positive. Stay positive and surround yourself with positive people.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, Ms. Springer.
So the key takeaways, or what I would tell a newly diagnosed person, is you're not alone. You are not alone in this fight. You can do it. Again, what Tanisha said, just pick up your socks. You're good to go. Get your professional help when needed.
Yes.
You are not alone. Don't be like me. Don't be like me and feel like you're alone. You have the support. You have us. You have Shades of Lupus. Reach out to us. Contact us. We are here. We have different. You can see the difference between Tanisha and I in the level of experience.
Yes.
Or the different support level. You have people who are relatable to you. So if anybody who is newly diagnosed and you need someone to talk to, we aren't professionals, but we understand.
Yes.
So
yes.
you can definitely reach out to us and we can help you along the way.
And we
Right.
can
Just
point you to the professional.
Correct.
Wonderful. Well, just remind us of your Facebook page info and the phone contact again as we wrap up.
Okay, so Facebook is Shades of Lupus. Instagram is Shades of Lupus Tobago. Our email address is shadesoflupustobago@gmail.com, and the phone number is 773-4SOL, so 4 Shades of Lupus 4765.
All right. Well, thank you so much, ladies, Miss Tanisha Cupid and Miss Akela Springer, for joining us here today on the program as we highlighted and shared pertinent information about lupus. Of course, earlier in the program, we had Dr. Juniki Frank Edabor, who laid the foundation for us, and of course, you here putting the icing on the cake. So I want to wish you all the best with your newly formed group, and you just continue providing that support that is so critically needed for persons who have been diagnosed with lupus. I like what you said. This is not a death sentence, so you can continue to live, not just exist, but thrive.
That's right.
So thanks and congratulations once again.
Thank you
Well,
so
viewers, that's how we bring the curtains down yet another program. It is our hope that the programs being aired, they are actually bringing you into the kind of information that is so needed, educating you, allowing you to find that help that you so need in whatever area that you may need that help. So that is the goal of this program. Be sure to send in your good news, good vibes. Remember, I would have told you about this brand new segment where you can now highlight your good news in a 90-second video. You know, so many times we know of good things that are happening, good news, and we just never hear of it. This is your opportunity to send in your 90-second video. Maybe the doctor said that all was lost and you came back from it. Maybe your son got a scholarship that you have prayed for night and day. Whatever it is, once it's good news, once it's good vibes, we want to see those videos. Be sure and send it in to our WhatsApp number, 1-868-701-2099. The number again, 1-868-701-2099. And of course, you can connect with us on our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel, Transforming Lives One at a Time. I am your host, Dianne, and of course, always a pleasure being in your company. As usual, I leave you with the definition of transformation, which is an internal shift that brings us into alignment with our fullest potential. Hey, we've got this. See you next time.